Hey guys. Okay, so this is Miss Sanchez. I'm excited that you guys get to actually hear my voice and hear me kind of talk about stuff. I'm gonna try and post these every single day so that you guys can hear me actually lecture about the lecture that I went over, the information that I went over. So today, what we went over in class is what is theater, and many of your peers said theater is acting, theater is performing, theater is music, and they're all right, but theater is also so much more. The actual definition of theater is a collaborative art form that uses live performers to portray a point in time, whether it's fictional, whether it's real, whatever, before a live or virtual audience. Now, used to, we did not have to say virtual, but because of COVID, virtual audience. And performers or actors, which is an umbrella term now, we don't say really actress anymore, we just say actors. That's it. So actors, it's a way for them to communicate to the audience using speech, gestures, dance, etc. So the question was, where does theater take place? And many of you, not you, but many of your peers said a stage, which is right. But also, theater can take place anywhere. It doesn't have to just take place on a stage. So if I were to go outside and start performing a monologue, and there are people that are walking by watching, boom, that's live theater. If I were to just stand on top of a mountain and perform and there was someone else there, boom, live theater. If I were in a shopping mall and decided to start singing, boom, live theater. So it doesn't have to take place on a stage. It can take place, sorry, I'm still at the school. It can take place really anywhere. And there's, in the PowerPoint, you'll see a theater in Seattle that takes place outside on the ground. You'll see a theater in Oregon that takes place kind of outside but on a stage, and it's used for Shakespearean festivals and those older period pieces. And then you'll see a bunch of indoor theaters. So the one on your top left is your traditional standard proscenium theater, where everybody's out in front of the stage, and that's what that typically looks like. Now, if you go to the top right, where it's this black room that everybody's in, that's what's called a black box. Excuse me. A black box is and a black box is more intimate, an intimate setting, as in it's a smaller setting. Actors are kind of really up close to the audience members. There isn't always a stage. Sometimes you're just on the ground performing on the floor. So that is another form of stage, indoor theater. If you go to the bottom right, where there's the wooden looking stage that has three sides to it, that is what's called a thrust stage. And it's really popular in concerts, so that the performer can go out on the very edge and sing and perform up close to the fans. That's what it's called, like I said, a thrust stage, where it's on three sides and it kind of just thrusts out into the audience. Now, the bottom left is an arena theater, and it's named after, Roman Colosseum, where they had the fights to the death kind of thing. It's named after that, where it's just surrounded on all sides. An arena theater can also be called theater in the round. So theater is miming. I recommend watching that video so you can see what miming looks like. Miming is not just oh, I'm in a box. It's not just that, okay? There are a lot of different performances and storylines that you can do with miming. You guys will actually work on an assignment called pantomime, which is basically it's just miming, but sorry, I am yawning. Miming an entire scene, not just one person, doing that. It's an actual scene that you're acting out. And miming is actually one of the oldest art forms. It's one of the oldest theater art forms specifically. It dates back to like when theater started, so like Greek, Roman, conquering the world type times. So the next one is shadow performance. This is one of my personal favorites. It is so beautiful. I absolutely love shadow performance. So basically what shadow performances is a group of people that have like basically like a white cloth in front of them, and behind them is light coming out from behind the white cloth, and you'll kind of see it in the PowerPoint and in the video. And they have people creating shapes with their bodies and using like props, or like usually they're like cardboard pieces or paper or something, to create like foliage or crazy symbol kind of things that we can't really make with our body. But you will be surprised on what these people can like make with their body, the shapes that they can make. It is absolutely beautiful. There's no talking in it, so the mood is set by by music. So theater is also technology. Technology is super big in theater, and there's one that blew my mind, and I'll tell you guys that in a second. So as you look on the far left, where it looks like there's a little girl kneeling, that's what's called projection, and those are used really commonly in theaters now to portray like symbols, to use as a backdrop or as a set, instead of using like set pieces, you know, like chairs and stuff like that. Sometimes they'll have like a picture of a living room set up, you know, just things like that. Now if you go to the middle picture where there's like a hologram, that is pretty new in theater. A lot of people are starting to use it for like ghosts. So if you're doing like Nightmare Before Christmas or any type of show that has a ghost in it, excuse me, they use stuff like that to portray the ghost. So it's not just like, unless you have to have a person doing it, just as a way to make it look like a little bit more spooky. And circuses, actually, which is a form of theater, circus, they're actually starting to use them now to replace animals, so that there's no animal cruelty or the potential of animal cruelty, which I think is really awesome. So you move on to the final one on the right, and it's a little kind of trippy to look at. So what it is, this is like brand spanking new, like so new that it's not even like fully developed yet. But they are doing, you know, this VR headsets like that you wear and you're in that like crazy virtual reality thing. So they're doing that with theater now. So what they do is they have actors in front of a green screen, and there are like set pieces kind of stationed around, and they have people controlling the backdrop, like the green screen and the lighting and stuff. And the people in the virtual headsets are like watching these actors perform, and it just like, it blows my mind. It creates a whole new, it's just so crazy, like so crazy to me. So theater is puppetry, and I know when you think of puppetry, you think of little sock puppets that are like, be kind to one another, okay, like that's what you think of. I know that was really cringy. But puppetry is also like marionette dolls, and those are the ones that like you make them dance when you have the strings attached to them, and you can do full performances with those. Like people actually do an entire performance of Peter Pan, like the picture on the far left is a performance of Peter Pan with marionette dolls. So you can do actual shows with them, and that's really common in like, especially in Asian countries. Now the form of puppetry that we're using in like American theater now is more based on like, well, watch the video, then continue to watch and listen to what I'm saying, because so you see the puppets in The Lion King, okay, so that kind of puppetry where someone's in there and it's creating like this creature and movement of this creature, where the person is actually in the puppet and manipulating the puppet. That's the type of puppetry that we use more in the US, and it's more modern that way. I highly recommend you watch that video in case you decided not to, because it is super beautiful. It's of the Lion King, which is super well known, so you should totally watch it. So theater is music, and there is a little bit of profanity in the video that I have linked. If your parents are not okay with it, then do not watch it. Just know that theater is music, and you guys have heard of musicals. You guys have probably heard of Hamilton, The Greatest Showman, La La Land. Those were all, types of theater, but with music. And there are more classic ones like Phantom of the Opera or Les Mis that are like the stereotypical musical, but the new cutting edge ones like Hamilton, like those really changed the genre and what musicals can be, and it is just incredible. So music and performance with music is a type, and singing is a type of theater. Theater is dance. Dance is incorporated in any musical that you watch. Dance is a part of that, and dance can be a form of theater as well. Theater is improv. So improv is super, super fun. I'm personally not very good at it, but I know people that are. So if you watch that video, it's of a clip from a TV show that I grew up on called Whose Line Is It Anyway? And it is a game called Party Quirks. So the idea of Party Quirks is that there's a host that's hosting a party, and there are 3 people that are her invited guests, and her invited guests all have something weird going on, and she has to try and guess what they are and what kind of weird quirk they have. And you'll see that in the video once you watch it. Improv is basically acting and performing a scene without a script. So you are saying lines, but you are making up all of your lines on the fly. They are not scripted. You just kind of have to make it up all on your own, and it can be really difficult, but it's a lot of fun at the same time. So to wrap things up, theater is performance of any kind, not just people on stage. Like I said, there's digital, there's holograms, there's there's dance, there's acting. It's so many things. And one thing I personally really love about theater is that it encompasses every art form. You have painters involved, you have carpenters involved, you have social media, digital media, you have all of these things that you don't realize are a part of theater. And that's what's just so great about it, is that there is space for anybody who wants to be involved, who doesn't want to perform. There is room for you. There are things for you to do in this field, and that's one thing I love about it. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to let me know. I am always here for you guys in case you guys need anything. Just because you're online and I don't have you in person does not mean I don't care about you as much. I really do care about you guys, and I want you guys to succeed and have fun in this class, because I think it'll be a fun class. And so I'm going to sign off now, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and you will see my face tomorrow, most likely. Bye, guys.